Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're discussing a topic that affects nearly every household, yet its potential dangers are often overlooked, especially for our senior community. We're talking about reheating food. It seems harmless, a simple way to save time and reduce waste. But what if I told you that reheating certain common foods could pose significant health risks, particularly for those over the age of 70? Let's start with a kitchen staple, cooking oil. We use it for almost everything, from frying to sautéing. But have you ever reused the oil from a previous meal? Or reheated a dish that was cooked in a lot of oil? When oils, especially those rich in polyunsaturated fats like sunflower or corn oil, are heated to high temperatures multiple times, a chemical reaction occurs. This process, called oxidation, creates harmful substances, including aldehydes. Studies have shown that these aldehydes are toxic. When we consume them, they can cause inflammation and damage to our cells. For older adults, whose bodies may already be dealing with age-related inflammation and a slower cellular repair process, this extra burden is particularly concerning. The pancreas, a vital organ for digestion and blood sugar regulation, is especially vulnerable. Chronic exposure to these toxic compounds can lead to pancreatic inflammation, known as pancreatitis, and may impair its function over time. This isn't something you'd feel immediately, but the cumulative effect over months and years can contribute to serious health problems. So, the next time you're tempted to reuse that frying oil, remember the hidden risks. It's always safer to use fresh oil for each meal. Now, let's move on to a healthy vegetable that many of us love: spinach. It's packed with vitamins and minerals, a true superfood. But how you handle leftover spinach is crucial. Spinach, along with other leafy greens and root vegetables like celery and beets, is naturally high in compounds called nitrates. On their own, nitrates are harmless. However, when you reheat cooked spinach, the heat can trigger a conversion process. The nitrates can turn into nitrites and then further into nitrosamines. Why is this a problem? Nitrosamines are known carcinogens, meaning they have the potential to cause cancer. When we consume them, they can damage our DNA and increase the risk of developing certain cancers, particularly in the digestive system like stomach or esophageal cancer. For individuals over 70, the risk is magnified. The immune system naturally weakens with age, making the body less effective at fighting off the cellular damage caused by carcinogens. The digestive system also becomes more sensitive. While eating reheated spinach once or twice isn't likely to cause immediate harm, making it a regular habit could contribute to a long-term risk that is simply not worth taking. It's best to enjoy your spinach fresh, or if you have leftovers, to eat them cold in a salad or a sandwich. Let's talk about why these risks are particularly heightened for our seniors. As we age, our bodies undergo many changes. The digestive system slows down and the production of stomach acid, which helps neutralize harmful bacteria and chemicals, can decrease. Our liver and kidneys, the body's primary detoxification organs, may not function as efficiently as they did in our younger years. This means that toxins from reheated foods can stay in the body longer and do more damage. Think of it like this: a younger person's body is like a brand new factory with a highly efficient waste management system. An older person's body is like a seasoned, well-run factory, but some of its systems might be a bit slower or more prone to backups. Introducing unnecessary toxins from repeatedly heated oils or nitrate-rich vegetables puts extra strain on a system that is already working hard to maintain balance. The pancreas, for example, is already facing age-related changes. Adding the stress of processing toxic aldehydes from reheated oil can accelerate damage and compromise its ability to produce insulin and digestive enzymes. This is not about creating fear around food. It's about empowering you with knowledge to make safer choices. Food is meant to nourish us, not harm us. So, what are the practical takeaways here? First, when it comes to cooking oils, avoid reusing them. If you've cooked a particularly oily dish, try to eat it in one sitting. If you must reheat it, use a gentle method like a low-power microwave setting or a slow warm-up on the stove, rather than blasting it with high heat. For vegetables like spinach, celery, and carrots, try to cook only what you need. If you do have leftovers, it's much safer to consume them cold. Add them to a salad, blend them into a cold soup or smoothie, or simply eat them as a chilled side dish. The key is to avoid applying high heat a second time. This simple change in habit can significantly reduce your exposure to harmful nitrosamines. Let's also touch upon another common food, chicken. Reheating chicken can be tricky. When cold, cooked chicken is reheated, its protein structure changes. This can sometimes lead to digestive upset, especially for those with more sensitive stomachs. The key to safely reheating chicken is to ensure it reaches a high internal temperature, at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 74 degrees Celsius, to kill any potential bacteria. However, repeatedly reheating can make it tough and dry. And if oil was used in the initial cooking, you run into the same issues we discussed earlier. Your best bet is to reheat it thoroughly once, or better yet, use leftover cold chicken in salads or sandwiches. The same principle applies to other protein sources like eggs and mushrooms. Reheating them can alter their protein composition and potentially cause stomach discomfort. It's always best to enjoy them freshly cooked. If you have leftovers from a big breakfast scramble, it might be better to have them cold later rather than zapping them in the microwave. So let's recap the golden rules for safer eating, especially for those over 70. 1. Avoid reusing cooking oils. Start fresh every time. 2. Eat nitrate-rich vegetables like spinach and celery cold if they're leftovers. Don't reheat them. 3. Be cautious with reheating proteins like chicken and eggs. If you must, do it thoroughly, but consider enjoying them cold instead. 4. Plan your meals to reduce leftovers. Cooking smaller, fresh portions is always the healthiest option. It might seem like more work, but your body will thank you for it in the long run. These small, mindful adjustments in our daily kitchen routines can have a profound impact on our long-term health and well-being. It's about shifting from a mindset of just convenience to one of conscious nutrition. It's a way of showing respect for our bodies and giving them the best possible fuel, especially as we navigate our senior years. This knowledge allows us to continue enjoying delicious food while minimizing potential health risks. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this information helpful and empowering. Making small changes can lead to big results in our health journey. If you have any questions or your own tips for handling leftovers safely, please share them in the comments below. We can all learn from each other. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more health and wellness content designed to help you live your best life. Stay safe, eat well, and we'll see you in the next video. In our last video, we talked about how reheating oils and spinach can create harmful compounds that damage your pancreas over time. Now, we're going to explore 3 more foods you should never reheat. Especially if you're over 70, let's start with our third food. Rice is a staple in kitchens worldwide. It's affordable, versatile, and billions of people eat it every single day. But when it comes to leftovers, rice is one of the most misunderstood and potentially dangerous foods you can consume. The danger isn't obvious. Cooked rice looks, smells, and tastes fine even days later. But there's something happening at a microscopic level that most people don't know about. When you cook rice, tiny bacterial spores from a bacterium called Bacillus cereus can survive the heat. These spores are incredibly resilient. Boiling water doesn't kill them, they just wait. The problem begins when that cooked rice is left at room temperature. Those dormant spores activate and multiply rapidly, releasing toxins. Here's the critical part. Reheating the rice later will not destroy these toxins. You can heat it until it's steaming hot, but those bacterial toxins remain stable and active. For seniors, this is a serious health risk. At 70, your digestive system isn't what it was at 30. You have lower levels of stomach acid, and your liver function has slowed down, making it harder to process toxins. This means toxins from Bacillus cereus can affect you much more severely. You might experience nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. But there's also chronic, invisible damage. These toxins trigger an inflammatory response in your digestive tract, and your pancreas gets caught in this inflammatory crossfire. Over time, this repeated inflammation can weaken pancreatic tissue and affect its ability to produce insulin. What makes this so tricky is that the rice gives no warning signs. It doesn't smell bad or look moldy. So, what's the solution? First, Cook rice fresh whenever possible. If you must store leftovers, refrigerate them within 1 hour of cooking. Don't let rice sit on the counter to cool down. When you reheat it, make sure it's piping hot all the way through, and never reheat rice more than once. Another safe approach is to freeze leftover rice in individual portions. Freezing stops bacterial growth completely. When you want to eat it, you can thaw a portion and reheat it thoroughly. Now for our fourth food, chicken. Chicken is probably one of the most common leftovers. Many people cook it in large batches for the week, but reheating chicken is risky, especially for seniors. When you first cook chicken, its proteins become easy to digest. However, when you cool and then reheat it, those proteins become denser and much harder for your digestive system to break down. This forces your pancreas to work overtime, causing real strain, but there's also a bacterial concern. Chicken can harbor bacteria like salmonella. Proper cooking kills them, but during storage, bacteria can multiply again. When you reheat chicken, especially in a microwave, you often get uneven heating. Lukewarm spots can allow bacteria to survive. For a senior, this can cause severe inflammation and put enormous strain on the pancreas and liver. There's also a third concern, compounds called ages. These form when proteins are repeatedly exposed to heat. AGEs accelerate aging at a cellular level and are linked to pancreatic dysfunction and other diseases. To stay safe, cook only the portion of chicken you plan to eat. If you do have leftovers, refrigerate them within an hour. Better yet, repurpose leftover chicken cold. Slice it for salads or shred it for cold chicken salad. This way, you avoid reheating it altogether. Finally, let's talk about our fifth food, potatoes. Potatoes seem so wholesome, but they can pose a real risk when reheated. When you cook potatoes, their starches become digestible. When they cool, some of that starch converts into beneficial resistant starch. However, when you reheat cooled potatoes, that resistant starch rapidly turns into simple sugars, causing a quick spike in blood glucose. For older adults, these repeated spikes are dangerous. They force your pancreas to work overtime, increasing the risk of chronic inflammation. There's another serious concern, acrylamide. This chemical forms when starchy foods are cooked at high temperatures. The amount increases when potatoes are reheated. Studies have linked acrylamide to an increased cancer risk in the pancreas and other organs. There's also a bacterial risk. Cooked potatoes left at room temperature for more than 2 hours can grow Clostridium botulinum, which produces potent toxins. Reheating doesn't always kill these spores. So how do you handle potatoes safely? Always refrigerate them within an hour of cooking. When you reheat them, use an oven or stovetop for more even heating. Even better, eat cooked potatoes cold in salads. The resistant starch remains beneficial and provides steady energy without spiking your blood sugar. Growing older means small daily habits have a big impact on your health. Reheating food might seem like an innocent shortcut, but for seniors it can have serious consequences. Your pancreas is one of your body's most sensitive organs. It thrives on clean, fresh food but suffers silently when exposed to reheated foods that have undergone harmful chemical changes. Every time you choose a freshly cooked meal, you give your body the support it needs to stay strong. It's not about perfection, it's about awareness. The next time you're about to microwave yesterday's meal, pause and ask if the convenience is worth the silent cost. Your body has worked tirelessly for you for decades. Protecting your pancreas is about giving yourself the best chance at more energetic mornings and longer, healthier years ahead. Thank you for staying with me. I hope you've learned something valuable. If this was helpful, please share it with someone you care about. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.